Welcome to Two Useless Organisms, a silly topical show where two useless organisms discuss today's hot topics, drink each other's philosophy juice, and read the internet's most unbelievable Yelp reviews. On today's show, we will discuss a million. Keep in mind that Two Useless Organisms is not safe for work, so please remain seated. We will discuss a million.
I got you there. You said it.
You,
I got you
I
to say
did.
it.
We Yeah, he got me to say that. Yeah, so the topics are having a million of one thing, and as referenced at the end of that, please remain seated. That's our theme park podcast. We do actually work in the theme park industry, so the second topic is going to be what have we learned, or most interesting thing we've learned from working in the industry. That was it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Tristan, what's going on with you?
Nothing. Just like every episode we record, I just got back from traveling. Got
All
back
right.
from
I wish I,
Illinois.
I wish I was traveling.
I know. I know. Me and you got to
I
get to
mean,
Ohio.
I mean, the last time we recorded, I think I had a bachelor party since the last time we recorded, I think. So that was pretty neat.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, was in the mountains. It's very nice. Went hiking. I'm very out of shape, so good time.
Oh, why are you talking so negatively about yourself? I just told you that you have a great torso.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. On our last recording, you told me that I had a good torso. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I'm sure that that it looks good, but like physically doing physical things, I get out of breath very quickly and sore very quickly. Um, that's what I meant.
Yeah. I had to, at my job, I had to do something that involved me basically doing lunges for a long distance. To put it mildly, I had to keep getting up and down off the ground. My right leg was sore for 6 days. For some reason,
Oh,
just my right leg.
damn.
6 days. And like the first three, it was
Shoot.
like you couldn't touch it. It was in so much pain. Uh
Oof.
anyway, yep. We're doing good. Just got back from Illinois. Um, it was a good time seeing family. Went to the old sandwich fair in Sandwich, Illinois.
Ooh,
Look it up.
nice.
It's a big old fair.
They have a sandwich fair.
They have a sandwich fair.
That is
There's
so pretty.
You can buy a couple different types of sandwiches there. I'm going to beat you to the stupid joke that everyone makes. Do you have sandwiches? A sandwich? But anywho, I
Do they?
haven't been in 6 years, and I was there for about an hour and a half before I was bored, and was completely comfortable with the idea of going 6 more years without ever going back. So
That's good.
yeah. Anyway, so we're here. We're useless, and
Yeah,
we're organisms for now, but we'll be dead soon. So I don't
I
think you're an
wish.
organism anymore
Yeah.
when you die. But you had an interesting topic. Um,
Yeah.
what is what is
So,
what is this?
so my topic is if you could have a million of one thing, what would it be? And it can't be dollars or any form of currency. You can't just sell it. You can't trade it or give it away. You have to have 1 million of something. Now, the way I came up with this topic was, on one of my forums or TikToks that I saw of people complaining about the rich hoarding the wealth. One of them had brought up the point of, if you hoarded a billion of anything, you'd look like a psycho. So like hoarding $1 billion, you have to be a psycho to be able to have obtained that amount of wealth. So I'm like, huh, what if I had, and a billion seemed like too big of a number. So I'm like, just 1 million of something would be pretty psychotic too. Um, so Tristan, if you can have a million of something, what would it be?
Can I ask a few criteria type questions?
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Now, this can be one item, right? One object that's made up of different objects, you know? For instance, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich isn't really one thing,
I'll count
right?
it. If you wanted a million peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I'll
I
allow it.
don't be stupid, Tommy. That's
Okay,
not what I want.
okay,
Now, let's say someone were to say, I want a million Mustangs, the car, not the
yeah,
horse. Would they all have to be the same color? Would they all have to be the same make and model and year?
huh. You know, I'd say they can be different make and models and years and colors. Yeah.
Okay. But then it would be too far to say I want a million different types of cars. That wouldn't fit to the question, right? Because then you have a million of really different objects.
I feel like You can do like a million cars, but not like a mixture of cars and trucks.
Okay, sedans.
Yeah,
Could have a million sedans. I don't want a million sedans. I want a million
yeah.
Gibson Les Pauls.
Okay.
Just a wall of them in a mansion.
Just a wall of guitars.
Just a wall, but they're not all the same. This is why I did the make and model and year with car question. They're all different years of Les Pauls. They made those things starting in 1958. And I would just have a whole bunch of them from then until now, different colors, different styles, different woods. That's
That'd
what
be a
I'd
lot of
want.
fun. That's good.
Something I don't talk about on here a lot is I play guitar very minutely. I used to play a lot more. Been playing now for 13 years. And I still geek out about guitars a little bit every now and again. So that's what I would pick. I almost thought of the joke by the late great comedian that died that I talked about a couple episodes ago. What's who anyway,
Mitch
yeah.
Hedberg.
Yeah, Mitch Hedberg. And his really great joke of rice is really great if you're really hungry and you want to eat 1 million of something.
I looked up how many grains of rice are in a pound, and there are approximately 7,000 grains of rice in 1 pound. So if you wanted 1 million grains of rice, that would be 143 pounds of rice.
Hmm.
So I think that would come in handy, truthfully. Um,
Okay.
Other things that I put on my list, I would like 1 million bouncy houses. Imagine just having a whole park of bouncy houses. That would be so cool. The community would love you.
Oh, you're selfless enough to let the community use. I
Yeah.
see. I didn't think of that. I was just thinking I was hoarding all my guitars to myself.
You know, honestly, if you want just 1,000 guitars yourself, though, that's totally fine too. I thought about putting a thousand or 1 million condos. Now,
Hmm.
granted, that would be a lot of maintenance and upkeep, so I think after the fact, I don't think I'd be able to do that, but you know, it was a thought. And also like if we're owning things ourselves, 1 million socks. I would never run out of socks.
What do you
You know
got?
how you
500,000 feet?
Yeah, dude. Well, like you know how like you always lose socks?
Wait, that math doesn't add up, does it?
Yeah, no, dude.
Anyway.
Like sometimes you just lose socks and it would be good to just have them.
It would be really
Um,
great if you lost a sock and you could just open up the door to your warehouse and climb a ladder that goes 85 feet into the air
exactly,
to
man.
get the next pair of socks that's on top of the pile.
It would be so handy. I would never like I think that would last me my lifetime. It might just do that. Um, I'd also like 1 million 2x4 slats of wood. Could maybe build some cool houses or something with that. Would also like 1 million pillows. I would be so comfy.
That's a good one.
Maybe even a million blankets. This is
That's a
the one
bad one.
time. Well, that's a bad one.
That's a bad one.
Why do you think 1 million blankets would be
You can
bad?
lay on top of 1 million pillows. How many blankets can you lay under? 5?
I mean, I feel like with that many fucking blankets, you can figure it out. You'd eventually be pretty fucking comfy.
Okay. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
You're rich. You can do what you want. Have a million
exactly.
blankets.
No, I'm not rich. I just have a million blankets and pillows.
Okay.
It's just that's just how it works. Um, Another idea, I was discussing this topic with my girlfriend. So, at my old work location, I had drawn tiny versions of myself. Um, Now I kind of just drew on just now. I didn't do much of the body, but this one features my asymmetrical glasses. I'm not wearing those today. I should have done that.
Hmm.
But I have worn them on the show. Because I used to wear those all the time at work. And before I left my last work location, I made about a dozen little sticky notes with little Tommies on them, and I hid them all around where I worked. And most of them are still hidden, I think. So with that in mind, I want a million sticky notes of little Tommies that I would just hide in random places wherever I go.
Wow. You
And
just all over
eventually
the world.
yeah, and people would like start realizing it. Wait a minute, I saw this sticky note somewhere too. What does it mean? And it's just my dumbass doing Tommy dumbass things.
Yeah.
So Uh, yeah, I think I made good use of my 1 million rule.
You did great.
Yeah.
You did great. You thought up more creative stuff than I did. Um, I would like to add, if you didn't have a girlfriend, you'd go through those socks pretty darn fast. But good for you. Um,
Sheesh.
I
Masturbation.
also, yes. I also thought of the 2x4 thing. I really did. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I was staring out my window here before we started recording, thinking, what would I do? And I thought, well, if I could get 1 million boards and just build myself a mansion, does that count?
Ooh.
Because, like, well, here's the thing: labor isn't
Yeah.
included in this wish. I get 1 million of
Exactly.
something. That doesn't mean I get a bunch of employees to build the damn thing.
Correct.
So, do I have to build my mansion with 1 million boards?
That is true. I'm not good at woodworking, so I probably shouldn't have thrown that one in. I think it was just the thought of it.
It's a cool idea, but I mean, think even if you wanted to sell some of your 2x4s to pay for the labor, 2x4s don't sell for a lot of money.
No, they
You'd
really
have to get
don't.
rid of 3/4 of your 2x4s just to build a house.
Yeah.
You got some dumb ideas, Tommy.
You know, they are ideas. But I got a better idea.
Okay.
Got a better idea. About 1
You,
million glasses.
1 million glasses.
Because, I only have like 5 pairs or something like that. So I would like 1 million pairs. You would see me wear a different pair of glasses every day, all the time.
What would they do? Break into your coffin every day and put the new pairs on after you're dead just to wear them all? You couldn't possibly wear every pair in your lifetime.
So,
You must be spiritual. You're looking down at yourself from heaven or hell or wherever you are, looking at your dead body. Yeah,
hell,
I always liked that pair.
dude, right? It's like, man, I really wish I would have gotten to that pair. Can you imagine?
I wish I hadn't been pancaked by a dump truck.
Pancakes.
That's a good one. See, that's a good one. Could you imagine 1 million pancakes? Just the room.
Yeah. You can
Oh,
make a house made
it
of
would
pancakes.
smell amazing.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God, I'm so horny right now for some
Mm.
pancakes. Just want to shove one up my butthole.
Well, while Tommy does that, uh, Tommy's also going to maybe read a sponsor.
Oh, yeah. Today's sponsor is the pancakes in the butthole. You wanna feel real nice? Eat yourself a pancake. Today's sponsor for two useless organisms is pancakes.
Wow. Wow. I went into that at an 8 and I came out of that at a 2. I'm very
Oh
calm.
yeah, you feeling it now, huh?
I'm feeling it now,
It's the
Mr.
magic of the
Krabs.
pancakes. Thanks for the sponsorship.
Did I hear you correct in that the pancakes are also in your asshole?
Uh, I really wanted to hold it in for that, but I couldn't. Uh,
Okay.
and what's your topic?
Yes. My topic is, what is the most interesting thing you've learned from working in the theme park industry? Boy, it is a
Yeah,
wild world
it
to live
really
in.
is. Oh my God.
You see some things. You see people
Yeah.
functioning in ways you did not think possible, or at least ethical or morally correct. Common sense, gone. No such thing.
Yesties really always find a way to surprise me.
It is insane.
Yeah.
Just the stupidity,
Oh yeah.
and the lack of courtesy.
Oh my God.
Like I said, common sense. There I've worked in a number of different types of jobs in the theme park industry. And there have been times where someone will come up to me when I'm working a certain type of job
Yeah.
and they'll ask me 1 million questions about everything else. Hey, what sugar-free options does this restaurant have? Like, hey, how do I get to this hotel? What time does a pianist stop playing at my hotel? Like just dumb. They'll think of all
Yeah.
these questions and they'll ask me, one person. I'm like, how
Oh
would
my
I
God.
possibly know all this? I'm just hitting the green button on this ride console.
Yeah. They always make for good stories too. They're always my favorite. And like I love hearing stories from other people that work in the industry as well. Like when Galaxy's Edge first opened at Disneyland. Keep in mind it opened at Disneyland months before it opened at Hollywood Studios here in Florida. I have a friend that was working in the Magic Kingdom that had a guest come up to them in May of 2019. Hey, where do I find Galaxy's Edge?
Wow. Wow.
You need to do your research.
Not even open yet on this coast.
And wrong park on this coast.
I have a friend who was working the greeter position at a ride at Hollywood Studios, and a guest came up with a universal map. They had the map and was trying to get to Harry Potter. Like, where'd you get the map? You didn't get that here. What the heck?
Wow.
What the heck? But
Which
I would
speak
say if I had to describe this phenomenon that I'm talking about right now into one specific behavior, it would be just the ability for humans to completely lose sight of functioning as a member of society or as an adult. They just forget. Most of the kids in theme parks are better behaved than the parents are.
Oh, I agree. I
Like,
100% agree.
so I would say it's that. It's that, if
Yeah.
any of our listeners are going to a park as a guest, just stop and be self-aware
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah. I think yeah, kids are always behaved way better. Especially when they're with their parents. I think sometimes when you get into like the teenage years when the parents let them on their own, sometimes not the best, but but definitely not nearly as bad as any adult that I've had to work with.
No, it's just they're insane. They
Yeah.
just
Which speaking of the Harry Potter thing, I have a friend that was working at Epcot. A guest pointed to the Canada Pavilion and asked, "Is that Harry Potter?"
I mean, maybe if you saw it in a picture, maybe you saw Hogwarts in a picture, and then you're walking through Canada and you see the castle.
Epcot.
Maybe, but yeah, I mean, well, people don't know. People don't know
They
the
really don't. They
companies are
don't know
different.
shit.
I've overheard guests in specifically in the Disney parks. I've overheard them refer to God, what was it? Spaceship Earth as the AT&T Dome, Akershus Restaurant as Oskenhauser, and my all-time favorite. Hold your finger, Tommy. Hold
Yeah.
your finger.
Okay.
It's tough to be a bug. They called it. It's a bug's world,
Wow.
which is a bug's life. It's tough to be a bug, and it's a small world, all rolled into one.
Wow. I've See when you said Spaceship Earth, I remember I was walking through Epcot one day and I heard some old fucker go, "I heard they're going to be turning Spaceship Earth into a Star Wars roller coaster." Where did you hear that? That has never been a rumor anywhere. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, no. I also heard someone referred to Disney Springs as downtown studios,
Oh.
which I'm like, okay. Like, man, downtown Disney and Hollywood studios did not get the name even remotely right.
That's funny.
I
I've never. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
People, they just don't know, man.
I really don't know.
They don't know.
I will steer away from the guests for a moment to just because it's one of the most interesting things you learn from working in the industry. How much just goes into everything, like especially like just opening attractions every morning. Like they don't just go in and like flip switches and turn it on. Like just the extensive amount of checklists you have to go through to open a ride every morning. Like like openers for the attractions, like they're not just standing there pushing buttons. They are checking every aspect of the ride to make sure that it is safe for everybody to go on. Um, like I remember there was one like on one of my trips to Cedar Point, um, the park was down for weather for like the first few hours. So they couldn't, most of the rides weren't, ready to be open even once the weather cleared out. And I remember when we were waiting in line for Steel Vengeance, waiting for them to open the queue, there's some obnoxious teenagers like not too far behind me. Just let us in. Like, why aren't they just open the ride? Why aren't they letting us in? Like, they have to run through the entire checklist to make sure it's safe and that the ride's working. They can't just open the queue and like turn on the ride like, oh, here you go. Um, like, yeah, those openers are there at least 2 hours before the park's open to make sure that everything is good.
Yeah, and to bounce off your point and bring it
Yeah,
back to complaining about
yeah.
guests in theme parks is like you said, they think that it's all just so simple.
Oh my
And
God, yeah,
not just when it comes to like, hey, can you why can't you just go turn the ride on? But in terms of everything else that goes into it, they'll really just say, how many times I've overheard and all the different theme parks, I guess, so you know what they really need to do? They need to do this, this, and this, as if this random person who traveled from who knows Connecticut
yeah,
knows remotely what they're talking about.
yeah. No, no, no,
Not at
no.
all.
Yeah, no, rides are very complex pieces of engineering that safety is a very, just the idea of safety is a very major thing when it comes to theme parks. Like, I feel like when you're a guest and you don't work in the industry, you don't think about it, but like, it is a very big deal.
Well, I heard a statistic, and this was years ago now, but it
Mhm.
was for Disney World specifically, probably over a decade ago, and it was that they do 52 million people a year. Now that's changed at this point in time, but let's use that as an example and say that that would be 1 million people per week. You have a million people coming through a park per week. You need to be like on top of safety. Safety needs to be
Yeah,
100% because say your safety, say 99.99% of the people who come in through Disney World don't get hurt. That's probably
yeah,
thousands of people that do.
yeah.
So, you know,
And anyone that does get hurt, it's usually because of heat, probably.
ugh,
But like,
drink your water, people.
yeah. So like there's never any like ride accidents at Disney, especially. Disney is like very, very like on top of their stuff.
I don't see really anything coming out of Universal either. I mean,
Yeah, Universal's pretty good. I mean, honestly, theme parks in general are really good. Like the only time where you see anything sketchy is if there's like, poor maintenance. Like, there's the crack in Fury 325 earlier this year. Um, or like there might be like a structural issue with a roller coaster, but usually that's noticed and then the ride's shut down while they can fix it. Like that actually happened with Wildcats Revenge at Hershey Park. They had to close that ride for a couple weeks because they realized there's some structural issues. Um, but they got to it before anyone got hurt. Literally anytime there is an accident, it like rides themselves are normally safe. Majority of the time, it's like a human error type of thing. Like the Smiler accident that happened in 2016, that was a miscommunication and an override by maintenance that led to it. The thing with the drop tower last year, just down the road, that was the manufacturer messing with the sensor to allow bigger people without actually making it safer, which is really stupid and pisses me off. Like I can go off on that. Some people want to blame the ride operators for that. No, that was not their fault. Like they were doing their job. The light turned green. They were able to move the ride. It was whoever fucked with the ride to allow it to do that. So like there's a lot that goes into it. People don't fucking think about.
I would like to take this moment to add if you appreciated zoning out while Tommy talked about roller coasters just now, please check out our theme park podcast. Please remain seated.
Go fuck yourself.
Where that's all we do. um, but yes, you know what? At least to sum up, at least what my point was, it's working in the customer service industry, which
Yeah.
shows you how dumb people can be,
Oh my
and
God.
most people know that. Um, except for the people that are somehow that what it's saying when someone goes into a Target and they go up to the customer service desk and then they just start throwing an absolute fit like a child and they just try to get their way and they try to, well, give me the manager, I'm going to sue the company, you better give me $1,000 gift card, and they're acting all crazy. It's like, do any of those people know that that's what they're doing? Do they have any self-awareness in that moment at all? It's just crazy. Anyway, if you have had a crazy customer service,
It's
experience?
You,
You let us know. Comments.
you know, when a child throws a tantrum, you don't give them what they want. So why are adults trying to act the same way?
Yeah, I tell you. I tell you. I tell you what, Tommy. Well,
I tell you what.
I tell you what, that was good. You know, we explored some crevices of our brains and buttholes, and you still got some syrup in yours. And, you know, we're just having a heck of a time talking about those things. And we're going to hop on into the, the final segment of the show, and that is the Yelp review.
Yelp review. Yelp review. Yeah!
Okay. This one. I'm just going to hop in. You know what? Darcy Dewdrop. You know Darcy Dewdrop, Tommy?
Darcy Dewdrop. I've never heard of her.
Darcy Dewdrop, MD. It's a doctor. That's what MD means. From Cedar Riverside, Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I found this Yelp review just recently, about a week ago, but it's from 3.5 years ago. Did some scouring. I was, as you do, I was looking at doctors' offices in the Somalian part of Minneapolis, and I found this one for Darcy Dewdrop, MD. Strangest ending of any Yelp review that I found so far. I write this with extreme caution, as my life may be at stake. 3 years ago, I started seeing a new primary care physician, Darcy Dewdrop, MD, and around that same time, I had a moderate sinus infection. I went in to have her check out the infection and fell victim to what can only be legally described as medical malpractice. It started out very routine. I walked in and Dr. Dewdrop said, "Good afternoon, Humberto. Have a seat and tell me what's going on." I explained the pain I was feeling in my left ear, to which she instructed me to undress and put on a gown while she stepped out. I wasn't sure why this was necessary, but she left the room before I could say anything. I put the gown on and stood in the middle of the room for a moment, where I noticed a rickety old ladder running up to a skylight that had been broken open to function as a door. A few moments later, Darcy knocked and came back in. She instructed that I lay face down on the bed, which I could tell had been moved from its spot in the corner based on the marks the bed made on the floor. The bed was now placed a couple feet from the ladder, the light coming in from the busted skylight shining down on the middle of the bed. I hesitantly laid face down on the bed, where Darcy wheeled over a cart with many strange objects I could not identify scattered about different trays. I glanced over to the chair in the corner where I'd just been sitting, where Darcy left a clipboard with some sort of procedure instructions written on them. A portion of the paper was highlighted with a heading that read Option 3, Anal Insertion. And that's when I knew this was no ordinary doctor. Yes, you did. Pancakes, my boy.
Dude, everything's coming full circle.
Full circle, full anal. Look at that. Anal insertion. This is slightly different. That's when I knew this was no ordinary doctor's visit. I was clearly distressed at this point, quickly glancing back and forth between the clipboard and cart, where I realized a terrifyingly pointy object labeled as the probe was in Darcy's hands and making its way to me on the table. While walking over, she kept muttering strange things like, "Mother Stignar will be pleased with this specimen," and "Our neighbors in the sky will share their planetary colonization practices with the people of Earth through your asshole, Humberto." At this point, I got up and ran out, grabbing enough of my clothes to throw on in the restroom down the hall and jolt out towards the parking lot. I had to pass Darcy's office to get out, so I ran as fast as I could, expecting her to be there ready to grab me and bring me back in. I only glanced through the cracked open door where I saw Darcy laying face down on the table naked, spreading her butt cheeks open directly under the skylight in silence. I ran out to my car, much to the surprise of the receptionist, but I was able to get in and speed off before any questions were asked. The next day, I was sitting in my living room where I heard footsteps approaching my front door and some strange, high-pitched moans coming through the mail slot. Fearing the worst, I got up and went to the entryway, where I looked out the window and saw Darcy on all fours in a squatting position, with bloodshot eyes and unkempt hair, pointing up at the sky with a disturbing grin while speaking in an unintelligible language. I called the police without pause and stood as far away from the door as I could, waiting for them to come. When they arrived, they immediately handcuffed Darcy and had 2 officers stand with her in my driveway while another spoke with me at the door. I explained the incident at the doctor's office yesterday, and the other officers began escorting Darcy into their car. As she was walking towards the vehicle, a strange pointy object with a blinky light fell out of her pants leg, and after they put her in the back of the car, she began looking straight forward and babbling incoherently. Shortly after, the entire inside of the car started glowing bright green, and the cop and myself turned around and noticed a loud rumbling noise and a piercing shriek. Once the commotion was over, I ran to see the inside of the car where the spot Darcy was once sitting was left smoldering with just a few drops of neon green goo on the seat. I shouted for the officers to come look, but when I heard no response, I turned around to see the 3 officers laying dead on the ground, with the same green liquid coming out of their mouth, nose, and ears. There was no one else around, just eerie silence. I ran back into my home where I've stayed for the last 3 years, relying on grocery delivery services and visits from family to get what I need to survive. I have only now gathered the courage to speak my mind about these events. I watch the news constantly, waiting to see a similar story happening to someone else, but it never comes. I will someday venture out into the world again, but for now, I live for each day, going to sleep each night, wondering if it will be my last day on Earth. If anyone has a doctor by this name, or these events sound familiar to something you've experienced, do not go back and inform the authorities. One day we will solve this mystery. Okay. Lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Got to spread the cheeks. You got to pull out what we just talked about. While I was documenting this review, I looked up Humberto in Minneapolis and found that he was actually found dead in his home earlier this year.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Completely dismembered in his bathtub, which was filled with green neon sludge, not a single drop of blood. Police found a stone tablet left in the tub with his body and strange writing on it that, you can't understand. It's not any language we know, but on the bottom right corner, the name Darcy was scribbled into the tablet. Oddly enough, after his body was found, the locals
The locals.
it's the green goo. Hello?